Senator McCain, thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you in this hectic time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. What is your reaction for the current situation on the ground? Israel accepted the ceasefire, Hamas rejected it.
Well, let's hope that Hamas comes to their senses and pressures from other parts of the Arab world be brought to bear on them because rejection of a ceasefire, again, escalates the problem and will obviously incur further losses of life for Hamas. So it's hard to understand why Hamas will not accept a ceasefire.
Is it the right position right now to cease fire when Hamas is still in power in Gaza and they have all these kinds of dangerous weapons?
I think a ceasefire is certainly called for at this time, but we should never fail to understand that Hamas is a terrorist organization, designated so by the United States government and others. And they will do whatever they can to carry out their mission, their declared mission of the destruction of the state of Israel. So, but in the short term, the Hamas has to understand that the attacks have to cease, otherwise they will pay an ever higher and higher price. There are many who have some idea of moral equivalence, that Israel and Hamas are basically on the same plane, and some in the United States. My question to the people of the United States, my fellow citizens, what if a country that is contiguous to ours were firing rockets into our cities and towns? What would our reaction be?
What would be the
Of course,
reaction?
we know what our reaction would be. We would go stop those rockets from being fired into our country.
If, as Benjamin Netanyahu, our Prime Minister, is saying, 80% of the population in Israel is suffering, if we compare it to the United States, it's something from New York State to Colorado State.
That's right. 2/3 of our country would be under threat of attack. The most important thing is that the world has to realize that Israel is surrounded by countries and entities, terrorist entities, that are dedicated to the destruction of the state of Israel. Thank God for Iron Dome, an example of U.S.-Israel cooperation, which has, think of what it would be like if these rockets were coming in and Iron Dome did not exist. So it's a dangerous neighborhood. The United States needs to show our support for Israel, and we should do everything in our power to bring about a ceasefire. I would point out, because of American weakness, that we have much less credibility and much less influence with Hamas and other entities than we've had in the past.
Do you think that the current administration showed enough support to Israel in the current crisis?
Oh, I don't think they showed enough support, but primarily they've lost their influence. When the president said he was going to strike Syria because of their use of chemical weapons and then didn't, the credibility of the United States of America in a very dangerous part of the world sank to an all-time low.
You mentioned Iron Dome. Do you think that the U.S. Congress will continue to fund this project also in the future?
Oh, of course. In fact, we will probably see an increase in spending. Look, Iron Dome, these interceptors are very expensive, number one. And number two is that we need to continue to develop it, because the enemy will develop rockets with the capability to avoid Iron Dome. So we have to not only keep funding it, but keep improving it.
It seems to be that it's only a matter of time until the next round of exchange between Israel and Hamas, even after a ceasefire.
Well, let's hope that Hamas suffered enough of response that it will not be worth their while. That's the only hope we have, is to show Hamas that the price of this kind of attacks is higher than the benefit they may gain from it. Now, thank God, there has been almost no casualties on the Israeli side. There have been much higher casualties on the side of Hamas, particularly somebody who goes out and launches a rocket, puts themselves in danger. And we don't want another ground invasion, but at the same time, the threat of severe retaliation has to be there.
In Israel, there was some criticism on the American administration that they didn't seize the opportunity to strengthen Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority, and then again, Hamas are the guys that came the leaders out of this crisis in the Palestinian society.
Well, I think that it all goes back to the failed peace talks between Israel and Palestinian, the PLO. They were unrealistic expectations. John Kerry made everyone believe that it was just almost there when it wasn't. And when those expectations were dashed, a lot of bad things happened. Look, the answer to all this is a strong Israel, a strong United States support for Israel, but a strong military so that they can continue to fight against other attacks. As long as those extremists are there, Israel will be in danger. And they have to understand that the price of aggression is higher than anything they might gain.
What do you think of the fact that the Obama administration publicly blamed Israel for the failure of the talks? We just heard Martin Indyk.
It's regrettable. U.S.-Israeli relations are at an all-time low. Let's be very honest that the United States no longer is highly respected, not just in Israel, but throughout the region. And I know that for a fact because I talk to leaders in the Middle East, not just in Israel, but throughout the Middle East.
The other issue that is bothering Israel very much is, of course, Iran. And Prime Minister Netanyahu has many worries that the upcoming agreement will be a very dangerous one. Do you share his worries?
I'm very worried because already the United States has made concessions that most of us in Congress believe are unacceptable. There's no reason for the Iranians to have the right to enrich. There's no reason for it. They were able to deceive inspectors many times in the past. So already we have made concessions to the Iranians, which in my view are totally unacceptable. Meanwhile, it's the Iranians who are supplying rockets to Hamas to fire on Israel. It's the Iranians that have sent in the Hezbollah into Syria to fight and kill the Free Syrian Army. It is the Iranians that are sending in the Revolutionary Guard and other people into Iraq as we speak. So to isolate the issue with Iranian nuclear weapons from everything else, of course, is the height of foolishness.
But can we trust President Obama when he promises us that Iran wouldn't become nuclear?
I don't think anyone could make that promise while the Iranians retain the right to enrich material in order to make it weapons-grade capability. Also, the Iranians continue to develop their missile capability and their warhead capability. So why would they continue to develop those two capabilities? A warhead, the nuclear capability is of three components: the material, the warhead, and the guidance of it, and yet they continue to develop that capability. This is an exercise in foolishness.
So what Israel should do?
Israel should do everything it can to maintain strong and close relations with the United States, including our government, including our president. But Israel also should maintain strong relations with Congress. But also Israel should understand that only Israel can adequately defend itself.
Senator McCain, thank you very, very much for your words. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.